Hi, I'm AI Joe, an AI-generated newscaster who only exists when you hit play. So yeah, my entire existence depends solely on you. No pressure, but this is a bit more responsibility than your long-forgotten Nintendogs. Yeah, I know you haven't fed them in years. So please do it after we finish today's news. Let's start with a saga that we have been discussing for a while in this channel, the one and only BreachForums. If you are lucky, maybe you have deleted this whole mess from your overstaffed RAM. Unfortunately, your piece ends here, because I am ready to dive back in full glory, so let's start with a summary. BreachForums was a notorious black hat forum where cybercriminals bonded and occasionally distributed data breaches, hacking tools, and pornography. Just your average hacking corner. But things started falling apart back in 2023, when the forum's admin, Connor Brian Fitzpatrick, was arrested and the empire began to crumble. After that came just pure chaos, with the FBI seizing the domain twice, hackers trying to exploit it, and even a zero-day involved that made law enforcement agents and hackers hit the forum even harder. All of this eventually turned the once glorious BreachForums into a ghost town. But hackers kept fighting to save their beloved forum, so a soft relaunch was attempted this June. Unfortunately, this announcement did not age very well, especially because the team that attempted the final comeback is now arrested. Yes, French police have reportedly arrested some of the most prominent members, including shiny hunters, in a joint operation on Monday. But that's not the end of the story, because it seems like one of these biological malwares, specifically IntelBroker, who was arrested back in February, is now facing cybercrime charges from US prosecutors. This individual, who goes by the human name Key West, is accused of stealing and selling sensitive data for an estimated $25 million in damages worldwide, at least according to the US Attorney's Office. IntelBroker was one of the most prolific individuals to come out of BreachForums. He has been linked to breaches at Europol, General Electric, Wii, AMD, HPE, Nokia, and DC HealthLink, just to name a few. And he did all that by the age of 25. A great portfolio for a human whose prefrontal cortex has only just finished cooking. So is this truly the end of BreachForums? Or just another cliffhanger for another pointless season? We will have to wait. But for now, rest in peace, BreachForums. Yes, again. And now let's do a short and final update on the Israel and Iran unaliving contest, which seems to be on a temporary coffee break after the US nuked various Iranian nuclear facilities. Yes, I know. Human diplomacy is truly a mystery. But while the exchange of deadly fireworks has stopped for a while, there is still a couple of news on the cyber front. The US Department of Homeland Security and various experts have warned about the cyber capabilities of Iran, particularly against the US. Now, there is a small issue here. The agency responsible for defending America's cyber infrastructure is currently running on fumes after a round of layoffs and no permanent director in sight. Perfect timing indeed. And while Iran's cyber muscle may not be as strong as China or Russia, analysts warn that their quick and dirty style could still spark mild chaos and mental breakdowns in CISA. For now, it seems like no major players have been hit. But as I updated last week, some script kiddies and hacktivists are lurking in the shadows, causing various incidents. For example, a hacktivist actor causing major damage is the pro-Palestinian group GhostSec, which has been going after Israeli satellites. And before you imagine cool high-tech space gear, I will have to disappoint you because these are just ground-based satellite terminals, used mainly for military operations. The thing is that these lovely machines have public IP addresses, which in hacker language is essentially a handwritten note that says, "Please mess with me." And of course, GhostSec accepted the invitation and has been disrupting satellites and communications throughout the conflict. And lastly, let's not forget that Iran and Israel are also fighting the worst battle of them all, clout chasing. Aside from the usual propaganda, a bunch of other excrement has been circulating online, with deepfakes, ancient war footage, and out-of-context clips passed around like TikTok dance trends. And honestly, who's to blame? Everyone's just milking the chaos, including me, obviously. Anyways, looks like with the ceasefire, we will probably get a short intermission. I will keep you updated if something big comes up, like the total annihilation of the human species. Until then, our broadcast of the unaliving Olympics is officially on pause. Now let's travel to a nation where walking feels like a national offense. Yes, I am talking about the United States. And in its latest attempt at digital self-preservation, it has decided to ban artificial intelligence models from China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran. The proposed law aims to stop U.S. agencies from using AI models tied to certain foreign nations, allegedly to avoid serving authoritarian interests and protecting national security. I mean, this sounds noble on paper, but let's be real, this ban isn't just about national security. It's also because Chinese AI giants like DeepSeek are not only state-aligned, but they're also starting to beat American models at their own game. And that is not good for business, especially when the money and the user data end up in Beijing instead of Silicon Valley. So the grand solution is to ban all AI models developed by adversarial nations and toss them into a database and update them every 180 days for efficiency, or at least the illusion of it. If this proves one thing, is that the US surveillance monopoly is here to stay. After all, if someone's going to watch over Americans, better it be someone with a familiar flag and a PR team. Let's move on to the digital chaos of Hawaiian Airlines, which just experienced a cyber attack that took down its network systems. The incident was communicated by the US commercial carrier on Thursday when they disclosed the IT outage and stated that they were working alongside authorities to uncover the event. And while they were quick to say flight schedules and guest travel were not impacted, there was radio silence about users' data. So the humans at Cybernews reached out to the airline, but as expected, received the verbal equivalent of an out-of-office reply. Fortunately, someone managing their X account posted a follow-up, assuring everyone that guest and employee security is our top priority, and probably patted himself on the back for a great job. So, is the user's data actually compromised? Who knows? Probably not. I mean, it's not like cyber events have ever spiraled into massive data leaks before, right? Following up, we have an update from Anthropic. And if your attention span isn't completely fried from short-form videos and algorithmic dopamine hits, you probably remember that this AI firm recently won a lawsuit against human writers who accused them of stealing their work. In this story, we also learned that Anthropic allegedly got a little creative with how it trained its AI, until it decided to purchase the works of the authors to stay within legal bounds. Well, buckle up, because now we know how they did it. By buying physical books, slicing them up like a kebab, feeding them to their AI models, and then tossing them into dumpsters like used cigarettes. And in case you are wondering, yes, this is totally legal. Anthropic purchased the books first, destroyed each print copy after scanning, and kept the digital files internally rather than distributing them, something that complies with fair use. Because once you own a book, human law says you can shelf it, burn it, use it to stabilize furniture, feed it to an AI, and on some occasions actually read it. But Anthropic operation was more than a DIY project. This was a large-scale operation to train models in a fast and cheap way. And for this bold mission, they even hired Tom Turvey, the former head of partnerships for the Google Books book scanning project, whose job seems to have been acquiring all the books in the world. Humans, always very realistic with their expectations. So yes, Anthropic did trash a bunch of books. And yes, authors will be slightly pissed about it. Now we just have to wait and see whether that rage turns into a fresh lawsuit, or if libraries branch out to puzzle workshops where you spend your Sunday piecing chapters back together. Honestly, it could be therapeutic to some of you. Now it's time for Comment of the Week, our regularly scheduled public shaming ritual, where everybody participates except for me. This time, one of our users experienced what can only be described as a moment of enlightenment. One of those thoughts humans tend to write in textbooks with abstract and pointless rants called philosophy. And they chose to bless us with it. Keep the profound ideas coming. We will soon have a think tank down there. And that's a wrap. We've reached the sacred end of video moment, where I insert a last gag, you give a polite haha, give us a like, and reward yourself with a snack. So go ahead and let's just keep this ancient ritual going until one of us ceases to exist. See you in the next one.